Herbert George Wells was a prolific English writer, best known for his works of science fiction, though he also produced many works in other genres. Born on September 21, 1866, in Bromley, Kent, England, he became one of the founding figures of modern science fiction and was celebrated for his imaginative and forward-thinking ideas. His writings often addressed themes of social reform, technological advancements, and human nature. Wells passed away on August 13, 1946, in London. Wells came from a modest background. His father was a professional cricketer and shopkeeper, while his mother worked as a housekeeper. He grew up in relative poverty, and his early life was characterized by financial struggles. Wells received a sporadic education until an accident left him bedridden, giving him the opportunity to read extensively. In 1884, Wells won a scholarship to the Normal School of Science in London, where he studied biology under Thomas Henry Huxley, a prominent advocate of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Wells' exposure to Darwinism influenced his thinking and writing deeply, particularly in his exploration of human evolution and societal change. Wells started his career writing articles, essays, and reviews, but it was his novels, particularly his works of speculative fiction, that brought him fame. He is often referred to as one of the fathers of science fiction, alongside Jules Verne and Hugo Gernsback. Major works: The Time Machine, 1895, Wells' first major novel. This story is about a man who travels into the distant future using a time machine. The book explores class divisions and social evolution, with the time traveler discovering two distinct species, the Eloi and the Morlocks, as descendants of humans. The Island of Dr. Moreau, 1896, this novel deals with themes of ethics and science, telling the story of a shipwrecked man who encounters a mad scientist conducting horrific experiments to turn animals into humans. It explores the moral boundaries of scientific inquiry. The Invisible Man, 1897, this story follows a scientist who discovers the secret to becoming invisible but struggles with the consequences of his power, leading him to madness and violence. It explores the relationship between power and morality. The War of the Worlds, 1898, one of the earliest depictions of an alien invasion. This novel portrays Martians attacking Earth, with much of the story set in the suburbs of London. It is both an adventure story and a critique of British imperialism. The First Men in the Moon, 1901, this novel follows a businessman and a scientist as they travel to the moon in an anti-gravity spacecraft. The story blends scientific adventure with satirical elements. The Shape of Things to Come, 1933, a speculative future history that predicted a devastating world war and the eventual rise of a world government. It reflects Wells' growing interest in utopian and dystopian themes. Wells was not limited to science fiction. He also wrote social commentaries, essays, and novels about contemporary society. His social realism novels, such as Kipps, 1905, and The History of Mr. Polly, 1910, depicted the lives of the lower middle class and their struggles. His later works leaned more toward utopian fiction, as seen in A Modern Utopia, 1905. Many of Wells' stories have been adapted into films, television series, radio dramas, and stage productions, often becoming iconic in popular culture. Some notable adaptations include The War of the Worlds, 1938 radio drama. Orson Welles famously adapted The War of the Worlds into a radio broadcast in 1938. The broadcast's realistic portrayal of an alien invasion reportedly caused panic among listeners who believed it was a real news report. The Invisible Man, 1933, directed by James Whale. This early Universal Pictures horror film is one of the most famous adaptations of Wells' works. It remains a classic of the horror genre. The War of the Worlds, 1953. This film adaptation of The War of the Worlds is one of the earliest large-scale science fiction films in Hollywood. It was later remade by Steven Spielberg in 2005, starring Tom Cruise. The Time Machine, 1960 and 2002. The Time Machine has been adapted several times. The 1960 version, directed by George Pal, remains the most iconic, though the 2002 version starring Guy Pearce also attracted significant attention. The Island of Dr. Moreau, 1977 and 1996, this novel has been adapted into film multiple times. The 1996 version, starring Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer, is infamous for its troubled production and bizarre performances. First Men in the Moon, 1964, a British adaptation of The First Men in the Moon. It is a lesser-known but charming adaptation of Wells' lunar adventure. H.G. Wells is regarded as one of the most influential writers of the 20th century. His works have shaped the science fiction genre, inspiring countless authors, filmmakers, and thinkers. Wells' predictions about future technologies, such as space travel, nuclear weapons, and even tanks, were remarkably prescient, earning him a reputation as a visionary. Moreover, his ideas about social reform and the potential for both utopian and dystopian futures continue to resonate with readers and scholars alike.